Hey everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. We got the Battle of Pennsylvania in the NHL, the first round of the playoffs, Pittsburgh versus the Flyers. Classic matchup, two great fan bases, and we're going to ask the question, what's going on with the college teams? Temple, no D1 team. Pittsburgh, no D1 team. How can you talk about a missed opportunity for fan bases to not get the college experience out of the sport? So anyway, we'll talk about that. Also, Pennsylvania, the NFL draft is in Pittsburgh, so we'll touch on that, everything coming in with that, and then tie it in with hockey in the Frozen Four. Denver wins
the Steelers, Andrew, the Steelers missed the greatest quarterback ever to play the game, Dan Marino. They don't deserve to have the draft in Pittsburgh because of that, in my opinion.
Coming from a Pitt guy. That's coming from a Pitt guy, guys.
Great conversation. So listen, little Denver. If you've ever heard of Denver, they win the national championship. Get this, for the 9th time, like in 12 or 13 years, they win the national championship. They beat Michigan, powerhouse Michigan. Of course, Michigan's the powerhouse in every sport. 2 years ago, national championship in football. This year, national championship in basketball. Their gymnastics is outstanding. Their women's basketball is outstanding. Their wrestling, top 3, top 4 in the country every year. And, here, little Denver beats Michigan and then beats Wisconsin.
7,000 kids. Denver University has 7,000 undergraduate kids. I'm pretty sure Econ 101 at Michigan has 7,000 kids in that class. So just to put it in perspective.
And Wisconsin. So here's the sweetness of it. Here's the sweetness. Our show, we always talk about the inequities. We're the level playing field. We want it to be a level playing field. So Michigan just won the basketball national championship with the fewest European players. What did they have, like 3 guys or 2 or 3 guys? And that was the fewest. That was the fewest international guys of all of the basketball teams that made it to the Final Four. So now here's little Denver, right? Beats Michigan with a boatload of Canadians and Europeans and NIL. They stole Cornell's best player. Poor little Cornell. They steal him, and they can't beat little Denver, who has the local flavor, the most local guys on their program, and the place is packed, crowd like you can't believe, and the people are going nuts over hockey in little Denver. Then, you just fast forward a little bit, and we go, oh, what about Pitt? What about Temple? Right? Penn State's got an awesome hockey team. I'm a little disappointed with them this year. And I'm disappointed that their top guys are Canadian, getting paid, 20-plus-year-old freshmen. And all of our great hockey players in the state of Pennsylvania can't get a scholarship to go to Penn State. They'd give, them and their parents would give everything to go, but Penn State, it's great that they have a hockey team, and I'm proud of them. The place is packed. They drew 30 or 40,000 people at the big stadium up there to have an outdoor hockey event. Now, what in God's name?
75K.
75,000 people. Wow. So what is the University of Pittsburgh thinking? What are they thinking, Andrew? What is Temple thinking that they don't have a hockey team? Here's little Denver. Wow, the place is mobbed. I watched a little bit of the game, the national championship game, and I watched the Michigan game on the Big Ten Network. It was mobbed. I'm talking, there had to be 15, 20,000 people at the hockey game, right? So how is Pitt and Temple in Pennsylvania? We got a boatload of talent in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, the Midwest. We could recruit. They have the Mario Lemieux Hockey Center in Pittsburgh, where boatloads and boatloads of clubs and youth teams come and play. What a huge opportunity for the University of Pittsburgh to step it up and give 15 guys scholarships. So you're going to have to give 15 women scholarships, but Pitt's volleyball team makes a boatload of money. So that's a wash now. So what needs to happen, Andrew, is these athletic departments, honest to God, it's sickening that they need to be revamped. It's not just Andrew, it's not just the National Chaotic Athletic Association. It's these athletic departments, for God's sake. Give a guy a break. Get 15 hockey players and then get 15 female hockey players and
Yep.
put them on the ice, for God's
Think
sake. Give
about
the
this.
kids an opportunity. That's what they're supposed to do. Penn State's doing it. And why can't you do it, Pitt? You got plenty of
Think,
money and
think
Temple.
about this. Think about this. So you got Penn State. So they just did in Beaver Stadium, 75,000 people versus Michigan State. Great atmosphere. That was on January 31st. I don't know if anyone else remembers. I know it's really nice outside nowadays, but that was a cold day. Now, if you
And
get
75,000 people still came.
75,000 people sat out
Crazy.
in the stands and
Crazy.
just like bundled up and did it. Now think about if you had Pitt Penn State in Beaver Stadium or in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. Even if it was Temple, if Temple Penn State, Temple Pitt in the link, could you imagine the frenzy of people turning out for that game? It would be incredible. The state just literally drawing a line right down the center, and that's what it. I mean, oh my gosh, that's the type of stuff that you just like you clamor for in sports. So total missed opportunity, and like what we said, I think last week we touched on the budgets of Penn State and then like in Alabama. Like if you don't have 31 teams, you're making money. Like you are making so much money. Like we said, I think last week Alabama clears like 32 million or something like that. There is zero reason if you are a Temple or a Pitt or any D1 like Power 4 program and you are not competing at the Division 1 level in every Olympic sport. Like there's zero reason. It's greed.
Just look. The writing's on the wall. Just
Yep.
watch. They're money makers. They're money
Yep.
makers. Do you understand? And
Yep.
that is what. Look, when they introduced Title IX in the 70s, right? They weren't money makers. Hockey wasn't as
Yes.
big as it is today. The women's sports weren't as big as they were today. And now our next subject is going to be women's college basketball. And they just had the women's draft. But anyway, they're making money. Okay, so add some hockey, and the other thing is Pitt and Temple don't have lacrosse teams. A friend of mine's son is on the club team in Pittsburgh. They're playing Temple club this weekend. They wanted me to come down and watch the game. I said, well, and stop in and see Casey Keeler, watch Temple practice, a spring practice. I might go down. Let me see. I got my daughters down there too, so I might run down there, watch a little bit of practice, and then go watch these kids play a lacrosse game. But why don't they have a lacrosse team? For God's sake, look, man. It's all
Philly
about
is
the
a
kids.
hotbed for lacrosse. They host the national title. They host the national title in the link every 3 years. Zero reason. Zero reason. All right, guys. Let's take a second to talk about our friends over at Summit Web Search. The internet is a big place, and if you're running a business, just being online anymore isn't enough. You have to stand out from your competition. That's where the team at Summit Web Search comes in. They help businesses with digital marketing, web design, graphic design, but what really separates them is how they prepare companies for where things are going. With AI coming in and changing the way people search for information online, you have to stay ahead of the curve. Instead of guessing and chasing trends, Summit Web Search focuses on what makes your business show up where it actually matters, in front of the people that are going to spend money with you. You need to chase those people down who are already online looking for your product. Because in a world where visibility is everything, that's what being online is all about. It's being positioned to win day in and day out and get your clients the products that they want. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start getting found, check out Summit Web Search and let them help you level the playing field. All right, let's get back to the show.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, Andrew. Their women's volleyball teams and their women's basketball teams are making good money. They're paying for themselves. Folks, if you don't understand what I'm saying to you, when Title IX came in, all the schools had mostly all the sports. You had the 30 plus sports. Mostly all the schools, Temple, Pitt, they all had all the Olympic sports, right? So what happens is when Title IX comes in, they say, well, the women have to get as many scholarships as the men get. of course, everybody wants to keep football, right? So that's 100 scholarships, let's just say. Okay, so now they got to give 100 female scholarships. So what do? They do volleyball, they do women's volleyball, women's gymnastics, women's basketball, right? And then women's track and field. They drop their men's track and field. That's what the SOBs do. So all of the Olympic sports have been tortured due to Title IX. The men's, they drop them all. And then the women's, they only have a limited amount just to barely match, just to barely match the men's scholarships. So that's bull now. That's a has-been. That's history. The women's sports are making big money. We talked about a number in volleyball. There's over 100 schools that average 5,000, 1,000 or 5,000 and 15,000 attendance for volleyball games. For God's sake, they're making money. So add more men's sports. And if you think about it, it's a no-brainer. Okay, Little Denver, and God bless them. And I'm so happy for them that they won with a bunch of tough American athletes, not European athletes, not Canadian athletes, not Russian athletes, right? With American athletes, because American athletes, pound for pound, are the greatest athletes in the world, okay? So they can't be 22, 23-year-old freshmen. They can't be professional basketball players from Europe who are in their 20s competing against our 18 and 19-year-olds in basketball. Same with the women's. So and with the volleyball and the gymnastics. It's so bad. You folks have to stand up and get with it, man. You got to go and contact whoever you need to contact and get it straightened out for your children, for your daughters, for your sons, for your grandchildren, for your neighbors. Man, step it up, man. Let's get something done. But moving on to women's basketball, right? So, and the draft, all right? So really
quick, Dennis, before we switch topics, really quick. I know for a fact for myself, I got my Penn State alumni letter in the mail for got to give that gift, got to give that financial donation.
You didn't do it, though. You didn't do it.
Throw right in the trash.
Andrew.
I really looked at it and I said, what am I doing? What am I getting out of it? They're like, oh, you get this, you get that, you get to come to a nice party here. I'm like, no, we're not. It's so
Andrew, man, listen, that's how you have to do it, with your eyes. Stop watching the garbage. Stop. And look, when Pitt calls me, I tell him, look, I don't like what's going on in the athletic department. I don't like the way they're handling certain things. I don't like the fact that they use aborted babies in their medical research. I tell the kids, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, well, you tell them you spoke to Dennis and Tia, and I've given them a boatload of money in the past. Their athletic department. I ain't giving them, look, for a lot of reasons. The NIL, the foreign athletes, the whole transfer portal that they're dealing with, it's a mess. You understand? So moving along though, getting into these drafts. So last night, 2 nights, or whatever it was, they had this draft, right? I wanted to throw up. I watched like the first 5 or 10 girls that got drafted, and they all look.
This is for the WNBA.
The WNBA. Before we get into the NFL draft, it's similar. So I'm looking at these girls. I'm like, what? I mean, their parents got to be ashamed of them. The way they're dressed, tattoos. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on with these women today? And it was like shocking to me that here they are being blessed. And again, I argue that there should be an NBA women's NBA team and a men's NBA team in every single state. I'm for expansion. I think the kids need opportunities, and I think that's what's affecting the NIL so drastically, and that's why we have all these pro players playing and these older guys playing in Division I basketball and football, by the way. But I want to thank one of our sponsors, Cobalt Construction. Let Julius and his crew build your dreams and move your mountains, okay? He's located in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania. You can call them at 570-533-9303 or go to Cobalt with a K, KOBALT-construction.com. They have topsoil, mulch, and all that great stuff for you guys. He's a great cat. Support him if you can.
Yeah, it's about being a role model, and we could say this, for the NBA, NFL, any professional sport league, you're a role model for kids, and when you're put on that platform, you're given. People say, this is a really tired argument, but like people say, like, oh, I need to use my platform for like political statements or anything or this or that, and like yes. That is true. Like you are given a platform, but there's a reason you are given a platform, and what you do with that platform is really important. Are you benefiting society? Are you benefiting, your family? Are you benefiting, the people who pay your checks at the end of the day? Are you bringing in more money? Are you pushing more people away? And at the end of the day, unfortunately, a lot of these professional athletes across the board are doing just that. They're pushing away more sponsorships and more people year after year.
Well, we got that superstar from, of course, Iowa, the greatest, great wrestling school, great football school. I know Kirk Ferentz; he's a good friend of mine. I know the brothers that coach the wrestling team. What a superstar we have! And God bless her, man. She's a beautiful young lady. She carries herself well. She speaks well. And why can't they all do that, for God's sake? And here's the thing, Andrew. Here's the thing. You said it. Role models. Besides not paying your parents down the road, okay, you got these beautiful parents who sacrificed, who did everything possible besides giving them a gene pool. And most of these girls come from humble beginnings, and now they're in the limelight, and they're dressed with tattoos all over them, with their boobs hanging out. They look like street women, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Dress decently, look respectable, and be honorable and be godly, be good role models, and you'll be blessed for it. It's I was just shocked. It's the first time I ever watched anything like that. I'm like, what is going on here? This is pathetic. At least the guys that are going to get drafted here with the NFL, most of them wear a nice suit, and some of them wear ties, and they're dressed in a respectable. They don't got tattoos hanging out all over them. And,
you have to. Everyone's wearing a jacket or like a very expensive, nice button down or something
they're
like
covered nicely. You don't see their tattoos. I don't know. I've never watched the draft. The last time in Pittsburgh, getting to the NFL draft. All right, so they got the draft in Pittsburgh. They're all talking, the legendary Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania and Allegheny County, and they're talking and talking. I'm like, well, the Steelers don't deserve to have the draft there because the greatest quarterback and the greatest lineman ever to play football, and I'm going to tell you both of their names. I'm sure you know where I'm going. Dan Marino and Bill Fralick, right? The Steelers passed on both of them. If you look those two names up, Dan Marino, you know who he is, but Bill Fralick, we call them Bull, teammate of mine, classmate of mine, came in together, wrestler. The Sports Illustrated picked them the greatest lineman to play in the 1900s. In the entire 100 years, they picked him. He's a Pitt kid, and Dan Marino, a superstar. And what do the Steelers do? What do the Steelers do in the last 2 years? They draft some kid Pickett, all right, bust out, right, to try to make up. He broke a couple of Dan's records. Oh, by the way, he broke his records because he done it like in 14 or 15 games. You know what I'm saying, Andrew? We had that
this season or 3 extra.
Yeah, and then he did it against Kent State and Duquesne. And
not the same schedule. Not the same schedule, you guys. You were independent back then, right?
Oh my word, we were independent. We played Notre Dame every year, Ohio State, Penn State. We played West Virginia was tough. We played North Carolina, BYU with Steve Young and Boscow. I mean, we played Oklahoma, national champions. We played a schedule North Carolina with Orange Taylor and then beat them. Reggie White, Tennessee, beat them. You understand? We played great teams, our openers. They're playing, like, I heard this year they're going to play Bucknell. Pitt's going to play Bucknell as their opener. But anyway, they take, and nothing against Bucknell. My daughter went there. It's a great university. No. But to play Bucknell in a football game is like, oh my God, where are they going? But anyway, Pickett broke Danny's records playing those types of teams. So the Steelers draft them, right? and bust out. So the reality of it is, and then to boot this year, they fire what a great coach, great guy. Tomlin was a great guy,
Tomlin, yeah.
hardworking guy, local guy. Had Hayward's two sons there. Craig Hayward, teammate of mine, drafted both of his sons. They're on the team. They have a nice community-based team. They're doing outreach. He's made the playoffs now every year he's coached, and they fire him. Like what? Listen, for the Steelers to be able to host a draft after that performance is pathetic to me. And then to boot, why aren't they helping the players? What the players want are grass fields. Grass fields give less. The record's very clear. Less injuries with grass fields, right? And there's a cancer funk that's been floating around, and the stench that comes off the turf. Trust me, I played on turf. When it's hot out, man, it's like, ooh, it's like being in wrestling practice. It's like being at wrestling practice, and it smells. And they're saying
100-degree days doubles on top of turf. It's plastic. It's burning plastic.
So the guys want the grass fields, practice fields, and game fields. They're making billions of dollars off these guys, and they're tucking it underneath the we're the best. We do everything this and we do everything that. Listen. It's a comedy that the draft is in Pittsburgh. I mean, look, I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I mean, if it helps them make some money and bring some tourism to the town. But Pittsburgh don't need anybody's recognition. They don't need the NFL's recognition. It's a great town because they got from the Africans to the Yugoslavians, every ethnic group, you name them, they're in Pittsburgh and grew up in Pittsburgh, and that's what made the Steelers so popular. Not their owners, not a couple of their football players. They've had some great football players on that team. I don't want to take nothing away from them, but they didn't have Dan Marino or Bill Fralick, the two greatest ever. Okay, and God rest Bill Fralick's soul. He's smiling at me right now. Great cat, Bull. What man? We called him Bull. He was so tough, Andrew. You man, when you looked at him, you shivered. You know what I'm saying to you? He was 6'5", 300 pounds with the 32-inch waist, man. This cat, 30. He was an animal. But the Steelers didn't take either one of them. But what made the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let me just put this on the record. So famous was the people. Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania, and Allegheny counties got the greatest people in the world, man. And it's a successful melting pot. The people are good people, respectful, hard workers. And when you would say the Steelers, they all worked in a steel mill. So what happened was everybody drew all the Steelers. Yeah, that's us. That's us. We're the Steelers. The people are the Steelers. And that's why the Pittsburgh Steelers are so successful, because of the people, not the owners. Not the owners and the managers and the people that run it. They can't make a decision for all the tea in China. How for God's sake, they fire Tomlin? And one of my buddies, Terrell Austin was the defensive coordinator. One of my teammates, he gets fired. I mean, come on, man. Look, it's overrated. I was watching, Andrew, just in closing. By accident, I was watching the 1984 draft, right? That Boomer Esiason's crying that he got drafted in the second round, right? And him and Hostetler got drafted in the second round, and their teammates were getting drafted. He had 3 or 4 teammates, guys I played against. Ron Solt, I pinned him twice. He was a first-round draft pick. I pinned him twice at the Northeast Regionals. He was from Wilkes-Barre, Coughlin. I stuck him twice. You know what I'm saying? So he was a first-round draft pick by Maryland. So they're crying and they're crying. Oh, feel sorry for me. Give me a break. Look, if you're drafted, God bless you. Be happy, be proud, be grateful to God, be respectful to the communities and all of the people that got you there, especially your parents and your coaches and your teammates. It's a shared success. And when Danny got drafted in the first round, they drafted 4 quarterbacks. Oh, by the way, it was on the NFL Network. I caught it. And they had me chasing Hostetler on one of the plays, Andrew. I'm like, oh,
that's great.
I mean, I'm like, what the heck? Me? I'm still on the NFL Network.
That's
I got a kick out of it. But anyway, Danny Marino, he had a humble party with his parents. man, his dad was one of the greatest guys ever. Mr. Marino was one of the greatest ever. Okay, and I love that guy. Man, he was just an awesome guy. God rest his soul. At a little party, people came. Okay, had a beer. He was at his house. He wasn't out, at the draft or any of that type of stuff. Same with all my other buddies that got drafted. Moss got drafted, one of my teammates, number 4 by Kansas City in 1984. But you can watch that show on the NFL Network. But, man, give a brother a break, man. Be grateful. I don't care if you're a 6th-round pick or a free agent. Be grateful. Be thankful that this great opportunity that the American people, that the people in Pittsburgh built the Pittsburgh Steelers. All of those teams were built by the people, built by their eyes and by their hard work and by them supporting those teams. So it's overrated, and that makes me sick how glamorous and what they're going to do and how they're going to do, Andrew. And I'm not going to watch it. But anyway, I just wanted to give some history about Pittsburgh and why it's such a great town. Nothing to do with the Steelers, by the way. All right.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
This is a great Pennsylvania episode. We covered all sides of the state, left, right, center, the whole thing. And want to thank everyone for listening in here. To if you're catching us on the radio or on YouTube or Spotify, I want to really appreciate it. And
Andrew, with that being said, let me just quick tell you guys. Look, the Joe Moore offensive line camp, guys. The Joe Moore offensive line camp. Go to JoeMooreOlineCamp.com. It's a great camp, man. We got some studs. The Notre Dame National Championship linemen that Joe Moore coached and the Pitt guys, man, Hall of Famers. It's the first weekend in June, man. Get your kids there. Bring your teams there. It's a great experience. It's a great teaching tool. And, man, some real studs are going to be there. Awesome. Too many to name.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great opportunity. Great opportunity if you're in high school, if you're coaching high school or youth sports, get your kids there, get them exposed to real life legends right there, national champions from the past, and learn something.
Great teachers.
Yep. Great teachers. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening. We're coming to the end of our show here. But again, you can find us on YouTube and Spotify, as well as all the social media channels. And, continue to like and subscribe to all of that. And until next time, have a great day.